The hardest battles are fought in the mind. That is what Dillion taught her. With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul.
Good morning, my name is Wiz, and it is my life mission to give you a toast to characters that deserve recognition. Today, I'll be giving a toast to Senua, from Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Developed by none other than Ninja Theory and voice acted by Melina Juergens, this game tells the remarkable and gripping journey of an individual who brings to light the complexity of dealing with grief while suffering from psychosis. From her frustrations to her passions, she feels like a human being. She's a caring and thoughtful individual, but also cruel to herself. It's the first time we see a character who's conscious of her own flaws. By hearing the many different voices in her mind, she illustrates the reality that human beings are constantly judging themselves harder than anyone else. Senua does not have a hidden power or an unbreakable will. Like many of us, Senua carries her wounds, regrets, and skeletons in the darkest corners of her mind. We see her trying to seek redemption for her actions, come to terms that death is unavoidable, and eventually accepting herself for who she is. Without further ado, grab your coffee and let's savor this character.
Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain. It does not reason. It is rot. And now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her.
Senua, like many of us, goes on a journey filled with joy, heartbreak, and loss. She experiences several moments that shape her behaviors and personalities. These significant but traumatic events haunt her every move and decision. We can visually tell her uneasiness and doubt within herself based upon her heavy breathing and how her eyes are constantly searching for the one person she admired most, the answer to her condition. Her humility is seen when she interacts with the ghost of her lover, Dillion. Unlike the rest of her village, he did not shun her and instead openly accepted her for who she was. He realized that Senua had a talent to be a great warrior and encouraged her to seek out her passions. This friendship eventually blossomed into love. She could trust him with each fiber of her being until his death. Senua's entire journey emphasizes the importance of grieving. From the very beginning to the end, we see a character who has not just changed by the traumatic event of finding her lover murdered, but is haunted by her ghosts. Throughout her journey, we see her face against the image of the very people who had murdered the love of her life. Senua highlights the effect that sorrow has onto the mind when she raises her blade against these shadowy figures. Perhaps, in these moments, her mind is attacking her and is trying to fight back. She, like many of us, loses herself in her emotions. While we know that time continues to move forward, she is lost in the ocean of the past. With each traumatic event, Senua perceives the world differently. The game elaborates that real change does not occur overnight. It takes a significant amount of time and energy. These traumatic events do more than just affect our behaviors and personalities. They take a hold of our health and well-being. They capture a moment that time can never erase and no medicine can heal. The game realistically portrays living with a mental illness, a traumatic experience that infects the open wounds of our minds. She illustrates that we cannot always escape what we believe is a part of us.
Why go on when you give everything and face that which torments you, only to find that it is worse than you could have imagined? Why go on? Is it really so weak to ask this? Or are we just so afraid of the honest answer that we do not dare pose the question?
Unable to let Dillion go, her mind uses moments of her past to ease her suffering. By doing so, she is unable to come to terms with his death. By trying to save herself from feeling pain, she reconstructs his image to give herself relief. However, the solution is temporary. Each time she sees his ghost disappear, she relives losing him. Similar to picking an open wound, she is reminded of the first time she lost him. We hear the many different voices of her conscience questioning each of her decisions. With each new problem, we are reminded that Senua does not just blame the attack of her village for killing her lover, but herself. By not being there when he needed her most, she sees his death on her hands. This illustrates the reality that people feel a sense of guilt for the tragic events of those they love. Perhaps Senua sees her shortcomings as the reason she was helpless. She not only finds herself experiencing the loss of her significant other, but shows that the memories she shared with him are being tainted by her sorrow. This is clearly seen under the tree that Senua met Dillion. The tree was once vibrant and filled with life, from the cherry blossom colored flowers to the emerald grassy lands. However, once Senua found Dillion's dead body, the image of the tree became hollow. While the tree is still alive, its leaves are gone, and dead men hang from its branches. Perhaps the tree is a representation of Senua's own mind, and the dead bodies are a metaphor to the weight she has been carrying with her. The roots have dried, and the beautiful ray of light that once pierced through the branches are now blocked by dark clouds, the shadows of her mind.
It only takes an instant. Fear swallows you before you have a chance to make sense of it. And darkness becomes a part of who you are.
To Senua, the past serves to bring her relief, but also deepens the hole in her chest. There are places that are precious to us because of the people we shared those moments with. This emotional and psychological pain affects more than just our health, but stains our memories. Similar to the countless days Senua trained with Dillion to prepare him for the warrior trials, she faces her own obstacles around the tree. With each obstacle, Senua faces against the memories of the days she will never be able to re-experience. She's facing against her past, one at a time.
For every battle won, a greater battle takes its place. And so it goes. Until we fall. And in the end, we all fall.
Senua's grief is further presented through her hand. As the game progresses and our hero dies, we see these black veins spread from her hand to the rest of her arm. We visually see our hero losing a fight that we know many are unable to overcome. When people experience a traumatic event, a part of them is frozen in time, remembering the moments that led up to it. Senua visually articulates that no one leaves an experience unchanged. Each time she comes across her own internal battles, she leaves with new scars. What makes Senua an incredible character is because she knows that the only way for her to move forward is by letting go of the one person she has desperately been trying to save. Senua portrays carrying the weight of her guilt and regret through Dillion's skull. From the very beginning, we see Senua holding onto the skull of her significant other, believing that she may be able to save him. She tries to do the impossible. This is a clear sign of Senua's own emotional and psychological illness. By carrying his skull throughout the course of the game, we visually see an individual who cannot let go of the past. This is further seen when she panics after losing his head. The very possibility of a life without him reveals her own humility. Like all of us, she creates bonds that no value of money could ever afford. They are precious to us, and to a point, are a vital part of our own health. While she is a strong and capable warrior, she is vulnerable to her own thoughts and self-doubts. No matter how strong of a warrior she is, even she is unable to deny the truth that has always been in front of her. In the final moments of the game, Senua comes to terms that it is normal to feel and carry our sorrows and pain. By letting go, we can accept that with life comes death. This is what makes Senua feel human.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senua. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts.
Senua proves to be more than just a fictional character when she comes to terms with the darkness within herself. Throughout the game, the player comes across different manifestations of her darkest thoughts, regrets, and hardships. This is best seen when she confronts her own reflection when facing against Hela. This boss fight is absolutely incredible. From the music score to the voice actor's performance, we can feel Senua's determination to keep fighting. As the fight continues, we begin to realize that this will never end. No matter how hard Senua fights, there comes a point when the solution is to accept the way things are, instead of trying to change the impossible. We do not see a character who accepts that life moves forward after several challenges, but instead see a person carry a weight that every one of us will one day face. This is what makes Senua feel more than fiction. Time and again, the grief of a loved one returns. At times, it feels as though it will never end. It is something that continues to grow and fester. Similar to real life, Senua is unable to overcome this heartache. Senua demonstrates that there are times when we are physically, emotionally, and psychologically defeated. And that is perfectly fine. Senua is human. She is not invincible. The darkness that she has carried for so long is the mourning that she has desperately tried to deny. By allowing herself to mourn and come to terms with the darkness within herself, she is able to move forward. No longer trapped by the traumatic events of her father's cruelty, her mother's death, and Dillian's fate, the voices of her conscience no longer haunt her. Free from the darkness within her own heart, our hero is able to find the peace that so few discover. This is a lesson in humility. We cannot change the past. If we try, we will only relive it.
Do not mourn the waves, the leaves and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
To my audience, I would like to say thank you. What did you love about Senua? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, possibly leave a like and subscribe for more. This is Wiz, and I'm all out of toast.
They can break you, but not your promise. Even death won't keep you apart. Through this darkness you will find him, in your sword still beats.